Hi there! It has been a while since I last uploaded a video on the R programming series. However, I intend to populate it with new videos this summer. So if you haven't done it yet, I encourage you to turn on the channel's bell icon so that you will start receiving notification of new videos in the weeks and months to come. Before moving on to the next videos of this series, I decided to prepare this short video that explains how one can follow along the code related to the GLC.sample package without having to install it. The reason is that quite often, people who watch the videos stumble upon some roadblocks related to the installation of the GLC.sample package. So this video is especially meant for these people, and I stress that not for those who already installed the GLC.sample package smoothly. These roadblocks have to do with the error messages directly or indirectly related to the DevTools package and or some other dependencies that need to be installed separately. Recall that in order to be able to install the GLC.sample package, you first need to install the DevTools package. For a beginner R user, the error messages are not particularly helpful. However, and this has to be said frankly, I find the process of dealing with error messages one of the most valuable ways of learning the idiosyncrasies of a programming language. Setting aside the complexity of overcoming these roadblocks, I present here the easiest solution, which is to choose not to install the glc.sample package, but to simply copy and paste the 6 vectors, namely glc_L1, glc_part1 to part4, and gr_communication_skill on your active RStudio session, and then save the current environment in an R data file that can be directly loaded in the beginning of each new RStudio session. Don't worry if you did not exactly follow through what I just said. I will walk you through this 4-step process in detail now. The first step is to copy the vectors from a repository in my GitHub account to your machine. Don't worry if you have never heard the term GitHub. You do not need to know that for now. For our purposes, GitHub is simply a place in the cloud that gives you access to repositories where developers store and share files and datasets. In our case, you would simply need to follow the link where the glc.sample vectors are, and the link is also included in the video description below, and then press the Row button. Now you can copy each of the vectors and paste them one by one to the console of an open RStudio session. Let's do it together. So, I mark and copy the first vector, namely the glc_L1 vector, and then I paste it on the RStudio console. After that, I simply press Enter to create the variable glc_L1. I follow the exact same steps for the rest of the vectors. And now all vectors are loaded and ready to use accordingly for the needs of the videos of the series. If you terminate the RStudio session, all loaded vectors are lost from memory unless you store the current state of the environment you are working on. By environment, I mean the set of variables and functions created during an RStudio session. The Environment tab in the top right window of RStudio lists all the created variables and functions of the environment. In other words, when you ask yourself, which variables and functions have I created so far in the current RStudio session, the answer is in the Environment tab. To store the environment in its current state, that includes the glc.sample vectors, you have to press the Save button and you then choose a storage location. I usually prefer to store it on the same folder with my R programs of the same project. As you can see, the environment is stored as a file with the .rdata extension. Environments are also sometimes stored within files with the .rda extension in its short form. Such an .rdata file contains R objects, such as factors or vectors, in a format native to R. Storing data in an R native format essentially means that it is faster to restore the data to R, and moreover, the restored objects keep R-specific information encoded in the data. For instance, the data type of the variables. Now, next time you open RStudio, you will either see directly the vectors loaded on the top right panel, or in case the environment tab is empty, you simply need to load the stored environment by choosing it with the Open utility of the Environment tab. Okay, all vectors used in the following videos that are also included in the GLC.sample package are now loaded, and you can use them as usual. You can call the variable names to see their content, subset them, etc. So, I hope you found this video helpful. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notification when new videos are released. See you in the next video.